Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Robert Giuseppe, and C News is live at noon. Topping the news at this time, the body of a man has been found in Port of Spain, and according to reports, he was chopped to death. The body was found at around 5 o'clock this morning at the corner of Prince and Frederick Streets. Police officers cordoned off the area, and that caused a bit of traffic. The victim is yet to be identified. There have been 95 reported homicides for the year so far. A 32-year-old has died after his car crashed into an electricity pole on the highway. Reports say just before 4:30 p.m. on Sunday, Andy Bridgemohan of 6th Company New Grant was headed south along the Solomon Hochoy Highway in the vicinity of the Gasperl flyover when he lost control of his vehicle and ran into a pole. He suffered extensive injuries. He was taken to the hospital but died a few hours later. Head of the Islamic Front, Umar Abdullah, is calling for the removal of Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi as a speaker at a Muslim event carded for April 2nd. This, as he says, Mr. Al-Rawi has exhibited nothing but contempt for the Muslims of Trinidad and Tobago. He cited the tabling of the bill to amend the Terrorism Act of 2005 in Parliament.
The Attorney General has to understand that this is in fact going to be a slap in the face of Muslims in this country if he's allowed to speak on that forum, because in the first instance he refused to speak with us, he refused to sit with us and discuss this amendment bill, and because of that, how could you, it's bold-faced of him to even accept an invitation to speak on that forum.
Mr. Abdullah said the bill laid by the Attorney General is bad law, and he's asking why bring the bill, especially since it will affect the Muslim community.
You know that it's going to further affect the Muslims in this country by way of the operating their businesses, by way of the communicating with people in this country, by way of just living our lives just like everybody else. I have to be careful of who it is I rent my apartment from now, because the owner of that property, they perhaps would not want to have anything to do with me or rent me that apartment, because he feels if I'm labeled a terrorist, he's going to be fined $50,000 or 2 years and 2 years imprisonment.
AG Al-Rawi is expected to address the opening ceremony for the Al-Hikmat office for the Caribbean and South America on April 2nd. An accidental discharge of the suppression unit at the Digicel head office on Maraval Road gave a scare to scores of staff and customers who were conducting business this morning. Just after 10 a.m., fire tenders from Ryson Road received a call and made their way to Digicel at 11A Maraval Road. Business was interrupted for just over an hour as customers and staff vacated the building on the Ansa McCall corporate headquarters. After checks by the fire officers, staff and customers were allowed to re-enter the building. Here we go again. The response from Labor Relations consultant Robert Giuseppe as he shared his views on the announcement by Methanol Holdings Trinidad Limited to stop using 2 of its 5 plants at the Point Lisas industrial estate. The decision was made public on Friday, and as a result, dozens of workers at the company are being offered voluntary separation packages. Mr. Giuseppe questioned the level of job and income security in the country, and workers will not ever be able to perform at their optimum when there is a high level of insecurity.
How are people going to sort of operate under these sort of conditions? It is, you are working in any establishment at this point in time, and especially in the area that we are dealing with this morning, I don't think any worker could feel comfort, any sort of comfort when they start looking at these things. Every other month, there's some sort of reason for them to feel really insecure.
The company's 5 methanol plants have a combined annual production capacity of 4.1 million tons. According to reports, negotiations over the last 5 years with NGC to supply sufficient gas to operate all our plants have to date been unsuccessful. Hence, MHTL has taken this decision. Mr. Giuseppe again stressed the need for an upgrade to the country's industrial relation law.
When people are feeling insecure, there are other social and economic, consequences to be paid. Well, we are seeing some people are relating the situation to the crime situation. Well, they have to do much more research to see if this is one of the factors that having the crime moving at that, at that sort of expansive rate.
You're watching the C News Live Report at noon. Remember, you can keep up to date with all the latest news on our website at cetvtt.com, or you can check out our Facebook and Twitter pages at C News Live. Now for the weather. Generally sunny, hazy and at times breezy conditions can be expected despite the small chance of light showers in a few areas. Tonight will be mostly clear and cool with the odd shower in confined areas. Rough seas bulletin number 5 in effect, and small craft operators, sea bathers and all other marine interests are advised to exercise extreme caution in any sea-related activity. Director of the Network of Non-Governmental Organizations, Hazel Brown, wants to know where the country's gender policy is. This as the world gets set to observe Women's Day on Wednesday. She said the national gender policy is the political statement of the government on its position in relation to the status of women.
What is its position in relation to the status of women, especially in relation to things like violence and work and employment and income and safety and security? All of those things need to be addressed on International Women's Day.
11,000 cases of domestic violence have been reported in the Diego Martin district over a 5-year period. That's according to Diego Martin Regional Corporation Chairman Suzanne Hung, who made the startling revelation just before the start of a walk against domestic violence towards women in the region on Sunday. The walk, in keeping with International Women's Day, which will be celebrated on Wednesday, started at the Big Tree in Diego Martin and ended at the Green Market, Bagatelle. Director of Plot, Gillian Wall, says the increased reporting is a sign of growing confidence in the relevant authorities to treat with the abuse. However, she says community outreach and continued education about what constitutes abuse is needed for it to be reduced.
Policies to protect our men or women, more stringent responses to cases of domestic violence and abuse. Intervention both by the state and from the institutions that actually provide support. It's making sure our women across TNT actually knew, men and women, because there are also cases of abuse of men, knew the support systems that are actually available to them.
A contingent of Cuban students are in Trinidad for a cultural exchange initiative with Success Laventille Secondary School. The visit is the second leg of a cultural exchange with El Conjunto Folclórico Nacional de Cuba. At the school on Sunday, the 23 Cuban students got a taste of some of the cultural traditions of Trinidad and Tobago. Sherilyn Lewis has more.
The TNT in Cuba Cultural Exchange welcomed on Sunday Cuban students who will be visiting the country over the next few weeks to engage in cultural discussions. In 2016, some 23 students of Success Laventille Secondary School, through its Success Stars Pan Sounds, accepted an invitation from the government of Cuba through the Cuban Initiative of Music to perform in several workshops in Cuba. And now it's Cuba's turn. The principal of Success Laventille Secondary School hails the initiative as good for both countries.
I had the support of the Cuban ambassador and the entire Cuban embassy to support me in the start of taking the students to Success Laventille's Pan Sounds to Cuba on an educational exchange visit. And this morning represents the exchange visit that we are completing for that first visit.
Member of Parliament for Laventille West, Fitzgerald Hines, said the objective of this exchange is to contribute to the broadening of understanding between the peoples and development of mutually beneficial relations between the two countries.
We are committed
También él está comprometido
to ensure
y está seguro
that your visit
que esta visita
is equally
va a ser igualmente
and an even more wonderful experience
probablemente una mejor experiencia.
MP Hines added that this exchange comes out of meetings the nation's founding father, Dr. Eric Williams held with Fidel Castro many years ago, and this exchange is evident of the relationship both countries still has.
Cuba has respected
Cuba es respetada
and nurtured
y también
and supported
también ayuda
the African community in Cuba
la comunidad africana en Cuba
and has now resorted
y tiene también resultados
to sharing the greatness of that community
para compartir la grandeza de esa.
And of course, the students were treated to some steel pan. They were also treated to an Orisha dance and sound.
Orisha la 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 pima vivo. Orisha la 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 pima vivo. Orisha la 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 pima vivo.
On hand to witness the exchange were Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, Minister of Trade Paula Gopi-Schoon, and Minister of Education Anthony Garcia. Charlene Lewis, C News.
Team Trinidad and Tobago just missed out on a top 3 finish at the NACAC Cross Country Championships over in Boca Raton, Florida on Saturday. TNT finished 4th overall behind USA, Canada and Puerto Rico. Top female distance queen Tonya Nero finished a credible 12th in the women's half of the 8-kilometer run, clocking a respectable 29 minutes, 10.2 seconds to be the first TNT runner to finish the race. Reigning national champion Samantha Shukla was 18th in 31 minutes, 33.5 seconds, and Canada's Sasha Golish won the gold in 26 minutes, 48.89 seconds. On the men's side, Shervan Babulal, competing in only his second NACAC championships, crossed the line in 18th place in a time of 26 minutes, 11.85 seconds in a field of 27 athletes. He finished ahead of his training partner Colin Pereira, who was 20th in 16 minutes, 19.73 seconds, while Matthew Hagley was 2 places lower in a time of 26 minutes, 51.15 seconds. And that's the C News Report at noon. I'm Mahalia Joseph. Remember, for up-to-date and breaking news throughout the day, you can visit the C News website at ctvtt.com. Have a good afternoon.